Matt and Buffy Payne are a couple driven by purpose. Through their nonprofit, Outer Circle Foundation, and faith-based organizations like Few and Dudes, their mission is clear: to spark positive change, empower others, and build a better world, one connection at a time. She is Chick. He is Dude. Welcome to the Chicken Dude Stuff podcast.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to our Chicken Dude podcast. Today we have a very great addition to the podcast, being John Baxter from Bannerlight Studios, and we'll get into John's stuff in a minute. But I just want to start with we had the fortunate instance of meeting John up at a gentleman named Brian Pruitt, who runs Beast Charitable Pursuits up in Ackworth. And we came across John. John was doing some filming and photographs for Brian, and collected our information and really loved what we were doing from a Outer Circle perspective, and reached out and said, hey, I would like to get involved, and was very, very gracious and came in and provided all of the filming for our 2025 gala. So thank you so much, John. And we got the video that came over, and really super excited to dive into that a little deeper and things. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But anything?
Nope, we're good.
We're good?
We're good.
All right. So John, like I said, Bannerlight Studios, take it away, kind of fill us in what you've been doing and how you got to where you are.
Awesome. Yeah. I just started Bannerlight Films a few years ago. I've been in the industry, just as a video editor and a videographer for, over 10 years. And I started Bannerlight just as a way to I have this passion, to help Christian ministries to just promote what they're doing and be able to accomplish their mission even more, just through being able to tell stories and raise support and things like that. That's the whole reason I started Bannerlight Films. I just, a lot of the work that I've done, the videos that I've made have been, just for volunteer. But I started a company to try to see, how can I, maybe I can raise, do sponsorships, and other ways to try to fund the work that I'm doing so that I can keep on making more content for ministries and helping them just full time. It's been great. I've just been fortunate, to work on a bunch of different projects for, nonprofits that are based in Atlanta, and it's been a lot of fun. And I love what I do. It's the greatest job that you could ever possibly have, in my opinion. My vision kind of for Bannerlight is just to see every ministry in the world equipped to tell the kinds of stories that they have, and they have some pretty incredible stories, just so that they can communicate, more effectively, and draw people in to the work that they're doing, and ultimately to show the love of Christ, and so that people would be saved. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So you said you've been in the film industry about 10 years.
Yes.
But Bannerlight is new. So
Yes.
Where were you in the film industry?
Yeah. So, I guess I should clarify. I wasn't in the film industry, per se. I was a videographer, and so I started off in a marketing agency.
Okay.
And then from there, I moved to freelance. That was about 7 years ago. I've been freelancing just with a variety of different organizations and companies, just doing, I also do animation. So, I've just done like social media content, website content, anything you could imagine just online, that's what I've been doing pretty much. So
Does it take you outside of Atlanta? And do you travel and kind of go places and do things?
occasionally. Yeah. I've been to Canada once. And then, I went to Uganda for the work that I was doing with Bannerlight. So, yeah.
That's quite the leap, Atlanta to Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a 15-hour flight to get there. And then you got to drive 4 hours to where we were. So it was a long time just traveling.
Wow.
Right. And were you supporting a missionary organization while you were there?
Yeah. Yeah. So a good friend of mine, this is actually my former boss at the marketing agency that I started off on like almost a decade ago. And so, he became a really good friend. He's a believer. And so he started his church has a missions organization in Uganda. So they actually train, native missionaries, just African people to actually go and reach their own people with the gospel.
Yep.
And they're super passionate. I mean, it's really amazing to just, have been, there to meet them. I mean, just passion for the Lord is, palpable. So that was awesome. But the reason I was there was to film a school that my friend actually had started. And that was to help African children get the education that they need at the children of these missionaries. Just because, a lot of the schools, a lot of places they go to are Muslim. They're majority Muslim areas. And so they, unfortunately, even the kids will face persecution just at school. A lot of it obviously is more verbal, but it can even sometimes be, physical, and the teachers will turn a blind eye. And so it's just kind of not a good situation. So he started this whole school to, provide tutoring, just, personal tutors will travel with these missionaries, actually give them a really good education. And then the hope is that, eventually these kids, in addition to getting really good education, will eventually also be missionaries themselves. So pretty awesome stuff.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you have a specialty that you would say you like, this type of filming over this type of filming or something?
Yeah. Well, definitely, I love editing. So, if I could pick, I do videography, video editing, and animation. So if I could pick one, I would do video editing. Um, so that, I love, being able to take all the pieces of a story, as far as footage goes, and bring all that together and actually see it all unfold. So, yeah, that's my favorite part, definitely.
What when you talk about animation, kind of explain that a little bit. What
Yeah.
animation means?
Yeah. So, you know, it's called motion design in particular, just because there's a little bit of nuance there. Animation usually refers to, like, if you can think of, like, a Disney film or something like that, where it's like, like really good animation. But motion design is a little bit more like stuff that you would see online, where the characters are a little bit more simple looking, and then there's lots of just cool shapes and transitions going on and stuff like that. So that's typically the stuff that I would work on. Is like that can be the same kind of stuff that you would make a live action video for. So that's marketing videos of all kinds, promotional stuff, commercials, things like that. But instead, you're telling it through graphics and through animated characters and stuff like that. So it's a lot more freedom to be able to kind of use your imagination and create whatever you can think of, because you can just create it using graphics software. So yeah, there's a lot of that's pretty fun as well to be able to do that. So
Yeah, and I asked that because back in the day, I was the head of security at Epic Games,
Oh,
and
wow.
so Tim created
Cool.
the Unreal Engine, and
Yeah.
they were doing a ton of automation, animation, and
Yeah.
bringing it into movies and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've seen a little bit of, I haven't been into it as much as I used to be,
yeah,
but as the stuff that they're able to do nowadays, I mean, obviously they got those huge LCD
yeah,
backgrounds now, and they can just,
yeah.
film the actors right, as if they're in the scene, So it's pretty cool stuff. So
Yep.
yeah.
So if like our audience wants to go out and kind of check out some of your stuff, do you have a library that they can go to, or do they need to go to different places to see it?
Yeah, no. So you can just visit my website. I've got obviously a demo reel, which is kind of like all the projects I've done, like short little snippets of them. But then there's also I have a work page, so you can go through. I've got like details on different projects I've done. There's been about 5 or 6 so far. So if you want to check out anything I've done, you can go there and see all the videos I made.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we saw the video you put together from the gala. It's
Yeah.
just under 8 minutes long. How many
Yeah.
hours of video did you have to watch to edit to get down to 8 minutes?
It was about only an hour and 15 minutes ish. I would say.
Ish?
So
Okay.
yeah. Not too much. Not as much as like your typical, I guess, extended kind of video would take, but
Right.
still a decent amount of footage. So
Yeah. Yeah. When you were talking about editing, I was like, oh goodness, I wonder how much time
yeah.
that
Yeah.
took.
It took a good while. It took the full 2 weeks definitely. I would say a number of hours. It probably would have taken anywhere from like 20 to 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the killer thing, right? Is I don't think people realize, even whether it's a photo or a video, right, what kind of goes into it after the fact of, all right, you got all this stuff. Now, what do you do with it? Right. Is exactly kind of what you were talking about right there.
Yeah. It's amazing. I'm even surprised sometimes on projects that I work on, just, the amount of work that goes into it. Sometimes as you're preparing, you think you have everything ready. You've got your script, you've got your storyboard, everything's ready to go. So you get all the stuff together. But then, as you get into the project, there's stuff that you didn't think about.
Right.
And inevitably, the scope just gets bigger.
Yep.
And so, that every project, it seems like, but I think for me, that's part of the kind of the joy of it. It gets to a point where it's just like, you really just dive in and you do, that kind of the joy of just creating the video just kind of sustains you through all the, the unknowns and everything like that. So, but yeah, there's a ton that goes into it. Lots that goes, behind the scenes, in terms of just, preparing, tons of like paperwork, tons of writing and, I would say probably the actual filming, is kind of like the tip of the iceberg, really, in terms of how much you have to prepare, and then everything that on the back end when you're post-production, you're editing everything and bringing everything together. So
yeah. So from an editing standpoint, is the advancement in software making it easier for you, or is it making it harder because it gets more complicated with all of the different bells and whistles that now you're able to control?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a little bit of both for sure. Nowadays with AI, there's a lot of stuff that you can not only just makes it easier, but you wouldn't be able to do, just a few years ago. For example, there's an audio cleanup software. You can take some audio that's got some really bad like background noise and things like that, and it cleans it up and like immaculately. It's amazing. So that's to that level. You would have had to like take that to like really like a expensive probably production, audio production facility, and then so that they could clean it up to that level. But nowadays you could just do that, from your computer. So the advancements like that with AI, that's pretty cool. It hasn't quite gotten to the point where it's doing your job for you.
Right.
So in that way, I think that's a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of different pieces of the software, that, obviously clients now, they expect more, as you're able
Right.
to do more, to a certain extent, I just, you work as you do different projects, you get new clients and then you realize, oh, okay, well, their expectations are a little bit higher than the last client I had. So,
Right.
so,
Right.
there's, yeah, but, again, you just, it's kind of all just the joy of just being able to do this as a job that I think, kind of, this makes that not so bad. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So who's your ideal client?
my ideal client is a ministry
Okay.
that, yeah, is, they have, a strategy, a content strategy,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking to try to fill out that content strategy. What I tell a ministry that, I'm trying to work with or that's interested in getting a video is how important having a strategy is.
Mm-hmm.
It's that really essential piece of planning that happens like in the beginning. That's really, I mean, even if you don't already have any content, but even more so if you do, it's that it really helps bring a huge sense of perspective to, whatever content you'll create. So, and then also how it's going to add value to your ministry and help you actually accomplish, the mission that you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super important. But the work I do is not that.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage people to get that strategy, but if they do have one, that's where I come in, and
Gotcha.
and to actually create the content for them to fill out that strategy. So yeah.
Okay. Very good.
So what do you have coming up?
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so there's a really awesome event. It's called Praise on the Hill, and it's a local outdoor worship event, and it's pretty great. It happens every year. Started a few years ago, but right now I'm talking with the founder of it, and just about the kind of content that he needs, just filming the event.
Mhm.
And so looking forward to just helping him out with that. And he's expecting to draw several thousand people
Wow.
to the event this year. And pretty awesome stuff. Lots of people have actually come to Christ through the event. So pretty remarkable stuff that's going on, that God is doing through this particular event. And so I'm hoping to be able to help him tell his story, to be
Mhm.
able to maybe bring some more sponsors on board, and just something that he can have and take with him to like meetings with different like churches or different people, to help him tell his story, and as well as online, to be able to tell his story, to just increase support, make people more aware of the event and everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it local? Is it here
It
in?
is. Yeah, it's happening in Marietta and Calhoun. So
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
yeah, yeah.
Nice and
Later this
close.
year though, so
Right.
it'll be like September. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's interesting. It's
yeah.
so let's shift a little bit.
Okay.
I don't have a ministry, but I have a faith forward company, right?
Yeah.
We're super faith forward. That's kind of our integrity. That's our
Values.
passion. That's what we present. That's who we are.
Yeah.
Client there, would you work
Yeah.
with?
Yes, I would. You know, um, again, for me, the idea is to just equip
Hmm.
ministries as well as companies. If their goal is to, yeah, if they have a mission, to just spread the love of Jesus
Hmm.
with their community, that's what I'm all about. And that's, the mission I'm trying to accomplish, with
Yep.
Bannerlight. So, yeah, I'd love to, if there's an opportunity to work with, a company that's trying to do that, I think that'd be great. Definitely.
Yeah. Is there significance behind the Bannerlight name or the logo? Is there any? How did that come
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, for sure. So, it's more just kind of a gut feeling that, it kind of represented in a kind of very general way, just how a video can help a ministry or a company. And it's kind of like you're just lifting, you're presenting something as like, headlining, what you're kind of all about in a very condensed kind of, format.
Right.
And if you think of a banner, it kind of like the flag of the U.S. kind of tells the story of like the 50 states, and the stars, and then the stars and stripes. I think are representative of unity and just what America is all about. And so Bannerlight is kind of this idea as well. You create a video that can help you. You can kind of fly that banner, and it can help you kind of tell your story and give you something to really take with you to show what you're all about. So
Yeah. Super cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. How long have you been with Brian? How long have you been up at up there in the Ackworth area, kind of doing stuff with him?
Yeah, I met Brian last November.
Okay.
And so I haven't known him really that long. But he's a really great guy and just super friendly. And really it's been a blessing knowing him because he's just so well connected.
Yeah.
And so he's just been able to connect me with lots of different people, and so it's been great. I haven't known him too long, and just I helped him film his the trivia events. I don't know if y'all know. You've been there actually, so never mind.
Yeah.
But the trivia events. So those are really fun. I was able to help him just film for that, and just film a few interviews with some of the nonprofits, and help them kind of promote what they're doing that he's involved with. So that was a lot of fun. So it's been great.
It definitely takes a community of connections to operate, right? To operate a business, to operate a nonprofit. It takes all of us coming together and helping each other.
Yeah. Brian's super good at that for sure. So
Yes, he is. He definitely is. So here's the $50,000 question.
Good.
What was your favorite part of the gala?
Yeah, man. I'd have to say, so it's got to be the bagpipes. That whole honor guard ceremony was awesome. But just the fact that you guys were able to incorporate that. I'm not too familiar with veterans organizations, so that may be like something that y'all do regularly at events and things like that. So if that is, that's super awesome. But that was amazing. So
and a little bit about that, kind of how and why. So Outer Circle helps both veterans and first responders, right? So when any military organization, right, starts an event, the colors are presented, right? Like we had the honor guard that came down, they turned and they say present arms, and the flags come down, the American flag stays up. And that's where everybody hand salutes, and then the national anthem starts. From there, right, it comes to order arms and everybody comes back in place. But from a law enforcement perspective, at any military funeral, it's taps and a 21 gun salute. At a law enforcement funeral, it's often Amazing Grace on the bagpipes. So that's how we pull both the military and the first responder side of the house together in our opening ceremony across the board with everything that we do are those two elements. And then ultimately when the bagpiper is done with Amazing Grace, then the colors are retired and the event kicks off.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that, but that makes a lot of sense. Because you had Amazing Grace and having the honor guard combined. I mean, that's really awesome. What a cool way to represent what y'all do. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that honor guard is from South Atlanta High School or Junior ROTC. So they have done every event that we have put on
thus far.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually these kids are going to graduate and then we're going to, we're going to miss them.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We're going to miss them.
Then the next crew will come in, and then our bagpiper Rob has been with us every event that we've done as well. So they're just so
they travel
fantastic.
to wherever we are.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're so great at what they do.
That's awesome. Yeah. How long? I mean, have you known Rob a long time?
He did our first golf outing 3 years ago.
Okay.
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5 years ago.
The fourth one. October will be our fourth one this year.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He's really good. So.
And normally, the big police agencies have a pipe and drum organization, right? Yeah. So it's snare drums, it's the bass drum, and it's bagpipers. They're all dressed in kilts, and usually, it's their uniform up top, and then off they go. And so that is a big law enforcement specifically. A lot of the fire departments have it as well, but it's that kind of entity that's pipe and drums on the first responder side that's there.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I mean, just thinking of, televised kind of funeral events, I mean, that's just such an amazing aspect of that. I feel like, they even, I can't remember, but they must have done it for 9/11, for the memorial, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But obviously just as a bystander, obviously Amazing Grace is an amazing hymn.
Yeah.
And it's an experience. It draws you in so well it makes you really feel really proud, of the first responder, community, I guess, that there exists in America. So that's pretty awesome.
It was pretty telling last year. We did our golf outing. We always do it in October, and it's up at Bears Best in Swanee. And we were really, really fortunate to have Kaylee Bishop, who is a Nashville recording artist, a ton of Christian work, does a podcast called Bible Bish, just a ton of different things. So she was down, and we had some video that I saw of her singing, then the bagpiper played, and the video kind of sweeps across, and everybody's wiping tears out of their eyes, right? It's the national anthem, just kind of does it, but then you throw the bagpiper in on top of all of it, and it's just craziness. Yeah. So it's awesome. Really cool.
It'll definitely
be pretty amazing.
Oh yeah. All right. So if a business is looking to kind of do some video work, is there kind of a checklist, couple of top, 1, 2, 3 things that you would tell them to make sure that they start working on or do before they hire somebody like you to come in and do something?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, if you can at all, if it's all possible, get connected with a marketer, somebody who has marketing expertise, and just ask, if you can't afford to pay them to give you like the full strategy thing, maybe ask for like some consultation or something like that, just to give you an idea of how to understand, most importantly, how the content you already have has really helped your organization, but then how you can create or how the rest of any more content that you would create would really help your organization, and really make an impact. Because the last thing you want to do is create something and maybe it helps a little bit, but it's not really clear how it's helping or anything like that. So that's what I just strongly recommend as the best way to prepare. Number one thing. But yeah, really, other than that, I mean, I would say, if you feel like, you've got everything you need as far as planning goes, and I'd say go ahead and reach out to somebody like me, and because definitely, I know there's, we're always happy to, create these kinds of stories. I mean, there's some of the most impactful and inspiring stories that you can possibly tell, come from these ministries and nonprofits, and companies that do, things like what they do. So, yeah. So reach out.
So how does somebody get to you? How do they get to you?
You can reach me a contact form on my website, or you can just reach out at john@bannerlightfilms.com. That's the best way to reach me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have or anything like that. So
So just making sure the website's www.bannerlight.com.
Bannerlightfilms.com.
Films.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Critical information. Yep. That's good.
Absolutely. So, closing thoughts, any kind of thing that you want to share? Where's the craziest place that you've traveled?
Uganda.
Man, so it had to be Uganda.
Had to be Uganda? Okay.
Yeah. It was an amazing, unfortunately I was only there for a week.
Right.
But it was an amazing week, just kind of a whirlwind of activity, really. Just get to speak with, I was at a conference, so I got to speak with missionaries from all over different countries of Africa. So just, hearing about the work they're doing and stuff like that, it kind of gave me an experience of more than just Uganda. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, that would be the craziest place. So.
Gotcha. All right.
Awesome. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time with us.